Hawk sent me one final report. She's on her way to Weishaupt. As for the Grey Wardens, they are fighting demons and Red Templars while staying clear of Venatori. You dealt Corypheus a significant blow, Inquisitor.
We owe much of that to Alistair and to the Divine.
Yes. You took an army from Corypheus, but that will matter little if Orlais falls into chaos. All arrangements have been made for the ball in Halam Shiral. Let us know when you are ready to proceed.
Remind me what we know about the plot against Selene.
The Venatori are planning some kind of attack on the Imperial Court. Corypheus may even be fueling the conflict between the Empress and her cousin, Grand Duke Gaspard. If we warn Selene, she may prove a most valuable ally against Corypheus.
Where can I find the Empress?
She's holding a grand masquerade ball at her winter palace in Halam Shiral. Your invitation has been arranged. That is where the Venatori will strike. Speak with us when you are ready. What was she like? Divine Justinia, or her soul, or the spirit that took her form. I read your report. I know it isn't clear, but...
She seemed calm, serene even, and she guided us the whole way through.
That does sound like her.
She did ask me to tell you something, though. She said, "I'm sorry, I failed you too."
Oh. I should finish this before it slips my mind. Perhaps later we might discuss the matter further. Thank you.
You have remarkably little here on early to winter history. All these gifts to the Inquisition, and the best they can do is the Malefica Imperio. Trite propaganda. But if you want 20 volumes on whether Divine Galatea took a shit on Sunday, this is evidently the place to find it.
That's the Dorian I know, critiquing every book in my library.
I wouldn't have to, if you could find some rebellious heretic archivist to join the cause.
Are there rebellious archivists? Other than you, that is.
If Corypheus ever starts burning masterworks of literature, I'm sure a few will pop up. Did I see something by Genitivi here? I could have sworn.
What is this about, Dorian?
When everyone returned, they told us about your tumble into the Abyssal Rift. You went into the Fade. Physically went in. Are you... all right?
Alistair is gone.
The Fade is an ordeal under normal circumstances. To be the only real thing there, beyond description. That you made it out at all is a miracle. You do realize this feat hasn't been performed in over 1,000 years. Corypheus and his contemporaries entered the Fade and began the Blights. In comparison.
That's not exactly comforting, Dorian.
Nor should it be. If you can walk in the Fade, others will try to follow. Who knows what secrets Corypheus has revealed? Not all of them will be as lucky as you. What they could unleash. My advice? Keep this quiet. Let them speculate. Too many will see this as a challenge.
That's a good idea.
There are enough idiots in the world who think if they just use enough blood magic, their problems will vanish. It's exactly the sort of thing I want to stop back home. This I don't need. What I do need is a copy of the Liberalum. I'll wager I can find Corypheus's real name. If I can prove he was a grasping ankle-biter with no family to speak of, the luster would come right off. Wish me luck.
You walked physically through the Fade. Please tell me what you remember.
I had visions. Echoes of what happened to me the first time. The Divine was there, or something like her.
Manifestations of your own mind, perhaps? Or external memories awakened by your presence? I suppose there's no way to tell. No one else has physically entered the Fade since the Magisters assaulted the Golden City. Oh, I'm positively envious right now.
I wanted to ask you about the Circle of Magi.
Of course. What do you wish to know?
What was it like to live in a circle?
My dear, your question is the root of all problems with mages. I cannot tell you. Every circle was different. Their Templars were different, their politics unique. And every person within each tower had an experience of circle life unique to themselves. Some people suffered and some were content. Some were cruel, some compassionate, and some indifferent. The same is true of people everywhere, in all circumstances, whether they are mages or not.
So tell me about your personal experience with the Circle.
I enjoyed life in the Montsimard Circle, my dear. It was an edifice devoted to knowledge and refinement. And there is comfort to be had, you know, in the company of fellow mages. Those born without magic will never truly understand us.
You must have been under constant supervision, being forced by Templars to live in the tower. Was that hard to endure?
My dear, I have a suite in the palace and a wing at my dear Duke Bastien's estate. I've never been forced to live anywhere. Most circles allowed mages to live away from the tower, either on their own or in service to the nobility. All that was required was permission from the first enchanter. Some circles were harsher in their restrictions. Kirkwall was the worst, but it was the exception. Most were quite permissive. Perhaps too permissive, in retrospect.
How did we come to this state with the circles in revolt?
A failure of perspective that infected circle leadership. Mages lived solely in a world of Templars and mages. They could not even imagine what was beyond the tower walls. Kirkwall gave the world a reason to remember its fear of magic. A mage killed hundreds with a snap of their fingers. Across Thedas, a new tangible fear of magic grew. Commoners and nobles alike called out to the Chantry for protection. But the malcontents in the towers thought nothing of this. They cared only for themselves and for their anger at the new Templar restrictions. When a mage attempted to assassinate Divine Justinia, again, the mages protested the investigation. The leadership chose to vote on independence based on the intolerable conditions imposed by the Templars, sparing no thought to the fact that magic was more feared in the aftermath of these attacks than it had been since Tevinter's day. So long as they had their freedom, they could care little for riots, angry mobs, or about pitting mages against each other.
Are you familiar with Grand Enchanter Fiona?
We've met. Before her horrendously ill-timed and selfish vote for independence, I thought her adequate at her job. In her dotage, she could not handle looking after the well-being of so many people. We would have done better to replace her years ago, to let her spend time gardening.
Did they have cause to rebel?
In the aftermath of their terrorist attacks? Was that really the most opportune time to break away? By all means, protest abuses by the Templars. Just don't do it in a way that says mages support wholesale murder. By voting when they did, my colleagues all but declared war upon the ordinary people of Thedas. A war in which we are outnumbered 100 to 1.
I thought the fighting was only between mages and Templars. Why are mages fighting mages?
The vote for independence was carried by only a small margin, but Fiona chose to let the motion stand. Those who opposed a rash declaration of war against the entire free world had little choice. By breaking from the Chantry when they did, the rebels declared themselves in support of mass murder. Anyone who did not wish to support terrorism and the slaughter of innocents was forced to take arms against the rebels.
So, the line of King Callahan the Great has finally ended. I didn't know Alistair that well, but he was a friend of a friend. One of the wardens who ended the Fifth Blight. A big hero to a lot of people. He wasn't the first good man to fall to Corypheus. He won't be the last. This story's no good for heroes.
You must be glad that Hawk made it back in one piece.
Yeah, closest thing I've ever seen to a miracle there. Hawk asked me to tell everyone back in Kirkwall where she's going. Fenris needs to know. Maker, I'm glad I won't be doing this in person. I'd better write some letters. Excuse me.
Writing does not come naturally to me, as I'm certain you can imagine.
Are you all right? You seem very intent.
I am. This needs to be done before I forget. As if written by a dim-witted child. Historians will one day ask what happened at Adamant Fortress, in the Fade. I was there. I saw it with my own eyes. It must be recorded.
That's an excellent idea, Cassandra.
I certainly thought so, until I started writing. I still don't know what to say about the spirit of the Divine. I saw her there, heard her voice, yet I cannot claim with certainty it was really her. The Chantry teaches us that the souls of the dead pass through the Fade, so it could have been her, yet even so.
Do you really think it might have been her? A ghost?
A ghost. A remnant of her hopes and memories. Her lingering will to do good. Those things are all possible. Nobody knows for certain what happens after we die. A spirit could have assumed her form, but why? It helped you, as Justinia herself would have.
I don't know the truth any more than you do.
Sadly, unanswered questions make for poor reading. When I realized we were physically in the Fade, I was terrified, almost beyond reason. The last time such a thing happened, we created Darkspawn. We created Corypheus. The world needs to know the truth this time. No more legends lost to the ages.
Someone I knew once described Adamant to me. Adamant is, and always will be, the Order, he said. A guardian on the edge of the abyss. The lone soul that stares into oblivion and doesn't waver. That's what Warden Commander Clarel tried to be. Well, they all tried to be. I'm told her wardens never wavered. They went to their deaths willingly. They died for us. And Corypheus twisted their sacrifice to make it his own.
We stopped him. We saved most of the Wardens.
But not all of them. And they died thinking they were doing something good. There's no one to blame but Corypheus. Even Clarel's intentions were righteous. Her desire to protect was so great it led her astray. It's not right. To want to do good, to be good, and have that turned against you.
Don't think of what went wrong. Think of their intentions, their sacrifice. Honor their selflessness.
Clarel made mistakes, but she was a great woman. And she died a great woman. It's not the armor or the trappings of the Order. It's not the joining. At the heart of it, all a Warden is a promise. To protect others, even at the cost of your own life.
Adamant's influence continues, your worship. I submit Lord Livius Erimond of Virantium, who remains loyal to Corypheus. We found him alive, offering extreme resistance, likely because the Order will ask for his head. In more colorful terms. To say nothing of justice you might personally require for what was suffered in the Fade.
Many places felt the pain of Adamant. You will answer for a great deal.
I recognize none of this proceeding. You have no authority to judge me.
On the contrary, many officials have communicated that they will defer to the Inquisitor on this matter.
Because they fear. Not just Corypheus, but Tevinter, rightful ruler of every piece of ground you trod in your pathetic life. I serve a living god. Bring down your blades and free me from the physical. Glory awaits me.
Although willing, there is a group you have wronged more than any. Lord Livius Eramond of Varantium. The Wardens can have you. Let them take your head if they want it.
Their petty justice or yours, it matters not. Truth lies in the next world.
Inquisitor, if you're looking for the commander, he's gone to speak with Seeker Pentagast.
You asked for my opinion, and I've given it. Why would you expect it to change?
I expect you to keep your word. It's relentless. I can't...
You give yourself too little credit.
If I'm unable to fulfill what vows I kept, then nothing good has come of this. Would you rather save face than admit... We will speak of this later.
And people say I'm stubborn. This is ridiculous. Cullen told you that he's no longer taking lyrium?
Yes, and I respect his decision.
As do I. Not that he's willing to listen. Cullen has asked that I recommend a replacement for him. I refused. It's not necessary. Besides, it would destroy him. He's come so far.
Why didn't he come to me?
We had an agreement long before you joined us. As a Seeker, I could evaluate the dangers.
Is there anything we can do to change his mind?
If anyone could, it's you. Mages have made their suffering known, but Templars never have. They are bound to the Order, mind and soul, with someone always holding their lyrium leash. Cullen has a chance to break that leash, to prove to himself, and anyone who would follow suit, that it's possible. He can do this. I knew that when we met in Kirkwall. Talk to him. Decide if now is the time.
Maker's breath. I didn't hear you enter. Forgive me.
Cullen, if you need to talk...
You don't have to. I never meant for this to interfere.
Are you going to be all right?
Yes. I don't know. You asked what happened to Ferelden's Circle. It was taken over by abominations. The Templars, my friends, were slaughtered. I was tortured. They tried to break my mind, and I... How can you be the same person after that? Still, I wanted to serve. They sent me to Kirkwall. I trusted my Knight Commander, and for what? Her fear of mages ended in madness. Kirkwall's Circle fell. Innocent people died in the streets. Can't you see why I want nothing to do with that life?
Of course I can.
Don't. You should be questioning what I've done. I thought this would be better. That I would regain some control over my life, but these thoughts won't leave me. How many lives depend on our success? I swore myself to this cause. I will not give less to the Inquisition than I did to Chantry. I should be taking it. I should be taking it.
This doesn't have to be about the Inquisition. Is this what you want?
No. But... these These memories have always haunted me. If they become worse, if I cannot endure this...
You can.
All right.
Again. Again. Come on! This is why the Qun doesn't like women fighting. I should have asked Cullen. Good one.
Perhaps you can take over.
Qunari training exercise to master your fear. I heard about the nightmare at Adamant. Sounded big.
Can you explain why I'm supposed to hit you with this stick?
Probably, if I try. It'd involve a lot of Qunari words, though. Just hit me with the stick, all right? I need to get over this demon crap.
All right.
There we go. Oh, yeah. Damn demon. Who's stuck in the fade, huh?
So we're working out your fear with a stick.
Less talking, more hitting. Piece of feed, piece of crap! And who killed you? That's right, Iron fucking Bull! I needed that. Thanks, boss.
And that works for you?
Yep.
All right, then.
Heard what went on in that Fade thing? What you think went on? Can't even start to believe that business.
I think a lot of people are having trouble with what went on there.
People going on about visions and piss when real people are gone. Dead, probably. Alistair, yeah? There's hearts breaking somewhere. And in trade, a busted-down bunch of wardens. And they're always weird. Usually, bad stuff happens first, so you're glad when the hero shows up. But wardens are the wrong way round. They're the good thing that means a bad thing is about to happen. Like in Denerim, when the Blight ended.
A lot happened in Denerim. What did you see?
People talked a lot about this one warden. There was a big fight and they died, or, I don't know, maybe they didn't.
The hero of Ferelden. You forget the hero of Ferelden.
That was ages ago. 10 years. I was playing with small painted boxes and burying stuff I stole. I remember more people cringing about magic than Blight. Wardens were an excuse for your stuff to go missing. Blackwall's nice, though. Different from the Adamant ones. Need more like him.
No. But you like demons! I enjoy the company of spirits, yes, which is part of why I do not abuse them with bindings. It isn't abuse, if I ask. Not always true. Also, I do not practice blood magic, which renders this entire conversation academic. He won't bind me. He's a mage and he likes demons, but he won't help.
Why would you want Solus to bind you?
So I'm safe. If Solus won't do the ritual to bind me, someone else could. Will. Like the Warden mages, and then... I'm not me anymore. Walls around what I want. Blocking, bleeding, making me a monster.
Isn't it extreme for Solus to bind you? What if that takes away the part of you that makes you, you?
Helping makes me who I am. I help the hurting. That is what I do. All I do. Am. Me. And if binding you erases your mind? Your consciousness? You wouldn't make me hurt innocent people. I don't want to hurt innocent people again.
We'll find a way to keep you safe without binding you, Cole.
I have a suggestion, if Cole is ready to listen. I recall stories of amulets used by Ravani's seers to protect spirits they summoned from rival mages. A spirit, wearing an amulet of the Unbound, was immune to blood magic and binding. It should protect Cole as well. The resources of the Inquisition could be used to find such a talisman.
Good. They will not take me.
And what else did Lady Forsythia say? That she'd rather drown herself than help the Inquisition. Anything else? She said she'd have us flogged alive if we allied with her brother.
That does sound like her.
Cheer up, Josie. We at least have her attention.
You always do find the brighter side of things. We are in the midst of cementing an alliance with Lady Forsythia of Navarra, your worship. It's become a somewhat delicate task.
Can I do anything to help negotiations?
Thank you, but I believe I have matters in hand. I dissuaded her from sending soldiers when she learned we'd struck an accord with a brother she's feuding with. Lady Forsythia simply employs a colorful manner of speech.
You're rather good-natured about threats of death and dismemberment.
They are chiefly bluster, Inquisitor. Most of them. But I confess I do miss my staff from the embassy in Antiva. It was always useful to discuss the day's visitors with them.
I have time if you'd like to review things with me.
I wouldn't wish to impose.
If it were imposing, I wouldn't have offered.
Well, I admit there are a few potential alliances it would be good to discuss. Right on the parlor floor, in front of everyone at the soiree. Who does such a thing in front of their guests?
The Duke of Kellington, apparently.
And then there's Cole's lurking. It frightens our guests half to death. Lord Gennard still won't respond to our letters. And Sarah, can she not find a single overshirt with that mustard taint on it? Then there's Dorian. The man refuses to take anything seriously unless it suits its whim. Not to mention... Oh goodness. Have we been here an hour already?
It went by so quickly, I didn't even notice.
You're far too polite. I didn't intend to go on for so long. You must think me quite the gossip.
You've been working continually since I met you, Josephine.
And that can't stop. I must be going. But I leave feeling less troubled than I have in weeks.